The sound of children laughing still makes my jaw clench. It's not their fault. It's the memory threaded through that laughter. The memory from my niece's birthday party. Pink balloons, a unicorn cake, and then a noise that erased every bit of joy. The sharp snip of scissors cutting my daughter's hair. She was 10, perched on a plastic chair, smiling and clueless about how cruelty can disguise itself as friendliness. My wife's sister, Helen, stood behind her, laughing as she held my daughter's head with one hand and hacked her soft brown curls with the other. "We can't have her outshining Lily today," she said. My wife didn't move, didn't protest. She said the thing that turned my love into something else entirely. "Don't make a scene." So I didn't. I walked over, knelt, and collected the hair that lay on the floor like fallen feathers. My daughter wept. Helen laughed on. Laura pretended nothing had happened. And I memorized every second. Helen had always been the loud one, center of attention, always comparing, self-appointed queen of one-upmanship. When I first met her, I thought she was merely arrogant, not dangerous. Laura adored her. She's just opinionated, Laura used to say. I used to believe that. Helen turned everything into a contest. Birthdays, holidays, pregnancies. Her daughter and mine were months apart, and from the start she treated them like trophies. Who crawled first, who spoke first, who was prettier. It never stopped. I let it slide. Family, I told myself. Keep the peace. Until peace became watching my child humiliated before a room of kids. Until silence meant complicity. I didn't speak that night. I drove home with my daughter in the back, staring at her reflection in the window. She whispered, "Why did Aunt Helen do that to me?" I told her, "Some people can't stand seeing beauty that doesn't belong to them." She nodded, quiet. I saw a crack in her spirit. Something in me changed then. The next morning, Laura tried to smooth things over. "It's just hair," she said. Helen didn't mean any harm. I looked at the woman I'd married, the woman who'd stood silent while our child was humiliated, and realized I didn't know her anymore. "It's just hair," I repeated. "Then she won't mind losing some of her own." Laura frowned. "What are you talking about?" "Nothing," I answered with a smile. "Revenge isn't a moment. It's a process." That night, after Laura fell asleep, I copied every scrap of evidence I'd ever seen. Photos, messages, offhand insults Helen had sent over the years. Screenshot of her bragging about dodging taxes. Videos she'd posted of her daughter without permission, mocking other children. I called a friend, a detective, and told him I had something he'd find professionally interesting. He listened and took notes. The next morning I uploaded everything, but not to social media. That would have been messy. I sent it directly to the school board, the local tax office, and to Helen's husband. Quietly, precisely. By noon, the consequences began. Her husband found the fake receipts she'd been claiming as business expenses. The school discovered the videos of her mocking children with disabilities. The police came knocking about unreported income. I was at work, drinking coffee and answering emails, remarkably calm, when Laura called. Sobbing, I let her panic wash over me like static. "They're saying Helen's being investigated," she cried. "Someone sent them everything." I said, "That's terrible." The next day, I took my daughter to the salon. We sat silently while a kind stylist repaired what Helen had destroyed, trimming a neat, soft bob. My daughter looked at herself and smiled for the first time in days. When we returned home, Laura was at the police station with Helen. Her text read like panic. "What did you do? They're saying you sent it." I didn't answer. I just looked at the small bag of hair from that night tucked in my drawer. A keepsake, a reminder. That evening, Laura returned with swollen eyes. "They know it was you," she whispered. "Do they?" I asked. "She's ruined," she said. "She might be charged." I set down my cup. "Good," I said. "She's my sister," Laura said finally. I looked at her steady. "So is the little girl she humiliated?" I replied, "You just forgot that part." 2 days later, Helen's husband filed for separation. Her accounts were frozen. Her reputation, the thing she cared about most, lay in ashes. I didn't gloat or celebrate. I sat with my daughter, helping with homework while a news segment about a local influencer under investigation for fraud and child harassment hummed in the background. Laura didn't speak to me for a week. She didn't have to. We both knew what that silence meant. Months later, I still see Helen at family gatherings. She avoids my eyes. Her hair, once flawlessly styled, is uneven and self-cut, an attempt to hide the strain. Every time she looks at me, she remembers that party. She remembers the scissors. She remembers the silence I gave her in return. Not surrender, but precision. I didn't make a scene. I administered justice. I learned the difference between anger and control. Anger burns hot and loud. Control burns slow and leaves scars that never heal.